Hello, my crochet crafter friends. Today we're going to make 100% cotton 7x7 pot holders that you can either hang or use as a trivet. So let's get started. I'm making this multicolor Lily Sugar and Cream is the brand, and I'm using these colors because my daughter-in-law and son just closed on a new house, and this is the colors of their kitchen. So it's kind of a seafoam, rich, blue and teal and that sort of thing, but you can use whatever you want. The other thing is you want to use a small hook, probably an E or an F, E, F, G, any of those will work. Just remember whichever one you use is going to make your size either an 8x8, 7x7, or 6x6. So that's going to depend on the size of the crochet hook that you use. So I'm going to start this project from the beginning, and the way we're going to do that is you're going to go ahead and chain 23. So get your crochet yarn on your crochet hook and go ahead and chain 23. 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. By the way, I am not chaining tightly, and your chains should be rather loose. And if they're not rather loose, you want to go through and make sure you leave a lot of give so that your pot holder is not all bunched together on one side. So make sure that you are leaving some nice loose chains that you can work into. If you're not, go back and start again, pause this, and do 23 chains that are loose. What you want to do is you want to skip, once you've done your 23, you want to skip the first 2. You want to wrap it around, and you want to go through the third one. You want to bring it back through, and you've got 3 on your hook. Wrap it around, go through only the first 2, wrap it around, go through only the second 2. Now, that is American crochet style that's called a double crochet. In Europe, I believe it's called something different. So for tutorial purposes, I'm always just going to show you the stitch, and that's the stitch that we're using, rather than saying half double or double crochet and confusing the situation like I have in the past. So on the ends here, that 2 that we skipped the chain, this looks like almost two stitches together. But I'm going to go ahead and work another stitch in that same, you're going to work another stitch in that same loop. So you're going to wrap it around, you're going to pull it through, the same one you just worked in, you're going to pull it through. So you've got 3. Wrap it around, pull through only the first 2, please. Wrap it around and pull it through the second 2. Now, if you have a different crochet needle with a hook with a handle, or it has, a rubber mallet at the end or whatever, fine. Use whatever you want to use, because I want you to be happy with the tools that you've selected. And I'm very free flow, freestyle. So after you've done that, you want to chain 1. We're going to chain 1 after every one of these that we create, and we're also going to skip 1. So chain 1, and you're going to skip that next one, and then you're going to wrap it around and go through that one after that, pull it through. You've got 3. Wrap it around, go through only the first 2, please. Wrap it around, go through the second 2. Now you're going to go through that same stitch where we just were. Wrap it around, go through, pull it through. You've got 3. Wrap it around, pull it through only the first 2. Now, if it's easier, I always take my thumb and my second finger on my left hand, and I'm holding it all the time so that as I'm pulling through, it makes it easier for me. and I missed a little bit of that yarn. I don't know if you can see that. If you miss some of the yarn, just go back and take it apart because you want your stitches to be perfect, in my opinion. You can make other mistakes, but the stitches are very important. So I'm going to go back through and wrap that around again and pull that through because I missed some of the cord on that. I've got 1, 2, 3, wrap it around, pull it through the first 2, wrap it around, and pull it through the second 2. So you can see there's kind of a pattern forming here. You want to chain 1, skip 1, go to the next one next to the one you've skipped, wrap it around, pull it through, 3, wrap it around, pull it through, wrap it around, pull it through. I'm going to do another one of those in the same stitch. Wrap it around, pull it through, wrap it around, pull it through. Now after those 2, you're going to do two of those types of stitches, which I call a double crochet, but again, for purposes of anybody being able to do it, it's just doing 2 of those same stitches in the same link there. So you're going to do a chain, and you're going to skip 1, skip 1, go to the next one next to the one you've skipped. Be sure you skip 1, because if you don't, it's really going to mess up your design. Go through the first 2 only, go through the second 2 only, wrap it around, go back into the same one, wrap it around, go through the first 2 only, second 2 only. You can see that there's a pattern starting to form like the one I've got below here, okay? I pulled so hard on that, I kind of made a little circle there, but you know what? That'll settle down as we start to go through and make our pot holder. But you want to chain 1, skip 1, go through the one next to the one you've skipped, pull it through, and count. You know what? I didn't pick up all the yarn again, so pull it through. If I held it tighter, I think I could get all the yarn through, but for tutorial purposes, I'm trying to leave it really way too loose. So wrap it around again, pull it through the first 2, wrap it around again, pull it through the second 2. Go through again, the same one. And then chain 1, skip 1, and do it all over again. So what you're going to do is you're going to do this all the way to the end of the 23 that we chained. You're going to go ahead and do the same repetitive pattern to the end. And when you get to the end, stop. So we can pick that up together, and right now you can pause that and get to the end, because I'm not going to go to the end of this one. I'm going to start on the next row. But just so you know, you didn't screw up, because if you're counting like a chain here and you've got 2 and then 2 and 2 and 2, and you're kind of saying, well, I've got it looks like I have 2.5 or 3 at the end there. Did I do something wrong? No, you did it right, because I create a little different pattern at the end. And the reason I do this is because for pot holders, you're going to pick up all kinds of kitchen slop with these things. You're going to have them on the countertop, and you're going to need to wash them often. And so I create an extra super strong end across there so that it will stand the test of time. And when you get to the end, like I said, when you get to the end, come back and see me, and I'm going to show you what to do next. So you are going to work your tail in too when you get to the end, if you haven't done that, but you can. So if you've done your first row, I already did my second row with this one too, but we're going to just assume this is the end of the first row. If you have a tail, you can work it back in, cut it, sew it back in, whatever you're used to doing. There's no right or wrong answer here, folks, and I'm very flexible, so I want you to be happy with whatever you're doing. So you've gotten to the end of that first row. Again, I'm on my second row, but there's a reason for this, and I'm going to show you why. You're going to go ahead and chain 2. And at the end of the first row, when you chain 2, it looks like this. The end of the second row will look like this. So you've chained 2. And again, you're on your first row, so don't worry about it. The reason I actually did 2 rows is because your first row tends to curl, and it looks like it's not going to lay flat. And you might say, geez, I did something wrong, Lori. I didn't do this right. You did it right. It just tends to bunch up and curl, and that's why I went ahead and did 2, because I wanted to show you that this is going to lay flat as you get through your project. So don't worry about it. So if you've chained your 2, you're going to wrap it around, and those 2 little doohickeys, those 2 little double crochets that you made, you're going to work inside of them. Now, a lot of my projects, I tell you to work between the spaces between your different stitches. This is a different project. You're going to work inside the 2 different doohickey stitches that you made. And if you're from Europe, I'm calling it a doohickey. So wrap it around, pull it through those 2, pull it back through, wrap it around, and we're going to do those 2 stitches, those 2 types of stitches in that stitch. Then you're going to chain 1, and you're not working again. Don't go in there. Don't go in there. Don't go in there. You want to wrap it around and go in between those 2 stitches. And it's tight, and it looks like you shouldn't be there. Shouldn't be allowed, but that's where you're going. And you're doing 2 every time. You're doing 2 of those stitches. So you're pulling it through, wrapping it around, pulling it through twice, wrapping around, pull it through twice. 2, chain 1. Wrap around, go through the middle of the stitches, wrap around, pull it through twice. Wrap around, pull it through those 2. Wrap around, so you're doing that twice. What are you going to do? Chain 1. Wrap around, pull it through the middle. I know it might be tight, so you want to go ahead and do that anyways. This is going to be great for my son and daughter-in-law, the colors. But if you have a seaside cottage, this would look really awesome, magnificent. And the other thing is, on Lori's Handiwork on Etsy, I have 2 of these that you can purchase with free shipping in the United States for $13.98. So if you get through this and you hate it, or you don't want to buy the cotton yarn, or you just say crocheting is not for you, but you want to make or have a special gift for that special housewarming gift, this makes a great housewarming gift. So, see? And the reason I'm continuing on with this is I want you to know how many rows that you're going to make. You're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. You're going to do 12 rows, which would basically make 7.5 by 7.5 if you're using the size hook that I am. But a couple of things that I want to show you now, which is very important. And I'm going to get my little scissor out. I have worked my tail back into my work. And so I worked this long tail into my work, which you didn't see, but most people know how to work tails, and if they're a crocheter. I just snipped that little piece off. And that's that. Now, as I get to the end of the row here, you're looking at it and you're going, ooh, this looks kind of funny, because that's that half double crochet that I did with that chain 2. So on every end, and I'm going to show you on these finished ones too, it's really not 2 stitches. It looks like it's 3 because I chain 2. I chain 2 and I turn it. I chain 2 and I turn it, and I still do 2 more of those stitches in there. I chain 2 and I turn it. And the reason I do that, it's like durability. That's how my edge looks. And I'm very flexible, and I offer options. So if you don't want to do that, when you get to the end, simply don't chain 2 when you turn around. But if you do chain 2 and you want it to look like, you know, what I'm doing, that's what yours is going to look like. If you don't chain 2, it'll look, you know, the ends will be just a little bit different. But again, you won't have that same durability for throwing it into you can throw it into the dishwasher if you want. You can throw it into the washing machine. Just remember, if you put cotton into the washing machine, you probably should put it on cold, and you probably should dry this flat. Otherwise, it's going to be all bunched up. But this will last you for years and years and years if you crochet it properly. And again, I'm just working those into the middle of the last 2. So again, I'm just going, and I would go through, and this is a very easy thing to do. I would go through, and I'm going to do 12 rows. And when I get to the end of the 12 rows, I have a little trick for you. So if you've left me, okay, no problem. But if you're still with me, I'm going to show you something fun to do at the end. This is one that I've already done the 12 rows on, and I've got the end right here. And you want to be able to hang this. And these you will be able to hang in your kitchen. So when you get to the end of the row, don't chain 2 at the end of the 12. You just chain the 1, you kind of tighten it. And you want these, you could make these loose or tight, but I usually do them tight. And I'm going to count 6 chains. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I'm going to turn it back around. Now, if you want a small hoop to hook into your kitchen, you can do that. If you want it a little bigger, you can add maybe a couple more. 8. And see how you have this little loop. 8's a nice size for this size hook anyways. If you have a larger one, you probably wouldn't want to do 8. And then what you do is you just come back around and you slip stitch it. So you find the end there, you come back around the front, and you just slip stitch it through. And there you have your little pot holder. And what you do is you get your plastic needle, which I'm not going to do online right now, but you get, see how that is? You're going to get your plastic needle, and you're going to work this back into your work and then cut off the end. But now you have a little hook there at the end to hang those pot holders. I did 8, and again, you can do whatever you want, Bohemian style. And thank you so much for joining me. Please subscribe to my channel. Visit me on Etsy at Lori's Handiwork. And I appreciate you following me. Take care. Have a great day.